times when you go through periods, extended periods sometimes, when things are really, really difficult for a number of different reasons. And the only way to get through it is to batten down the hatches and ride the storm out. Just batten down the hatches and understand, yeah, I'm going through a bit of a rubbish time, but it will come to an end. My name's Lee Spencer, better known as the Rowing Marine, I suppose now. And I was a Royal Marine for 26 years. And that was something that I was very much proud of. So I woke up the next morning a disabled person, and the night before I was someone who defined themselves by my service. I defined myself as a Royal Marine. I thought that person who defined themselves by what they could do physically had gone. I was no longer that person. I'd have to redefine who I was. And I set myself a couple of challenges. I thought, right, if I'm going to be a disabled person, then I'm going to be the best disabled person I can possibly be. Kind of had an epiphany. It was a real eureka moment, and I can remember it vividly. And I was rowing, and it just suddenly occurred to me that I'm still the same person, and that it's really hard to describe how important that was, that moment, unless you've lost that thing, that intangible thing that sits at the centre of every single one of us, that sense of self. I'd lost that. I thought, that person I was had gone, and I set out to redefine who I was, and actually realising that I was still the same person. Regaining that sense of self, of who I am, is probably the most significant thing to happen since losing my leg.
It's land! Never been so happy to see anything like that.
I hit what a marathon runner would typically hit at, with 3-4 miles to go. I still had 2 weeks to go, and I still had to maintain that speed coming in. Otherwise, I would have been pushed by the current too far north. And north of KN, where I was coming in, is just mangrove swamp. There's no beaches. There's nowhere I could just land and get out the boat to say I've done it. It was just not possible. And the mental gymnastics I had to do to get out and row on every rowing session was mentally exhausting. So soon after becoming physically exhausted, I became mentally exhausted, and then right on their tail came emotionally exhaustion. And the last 2 weeks were by a country mile the hardest, most difficult 2 weeks of my life.
That's my alarm just gone off for me 6 o'clock morning shift. It's Saturday. Or was it Friday? It's Friday. Oh, that's a killer. I thought it was Saturday, and I was going to start Saturday, morale Saturday, with morale pants, new pair of pants. I'll have to wait till tomorrow now. Oh, that's a kick in the teeth.
Because I was being truthful with myself, I knew how difficult it was. So I knew that, you know, it wasn't like because I'm an inherently weak person that I couldn't do this. I knew, you know, so that being truthful with yourself works in both ways. And it was doing that, speaking truth to myself, that got me through those last 2 weeks. I can't emphasise how difficult they are. They were those 2 weeks. For months afterwards, I found it really difficult to think about the whole row, in a positive way because of the black pit that was those last 2 weeks in my memory. But you know, you get through it and you get there, and then you're within touching distance of the finish line. I go through difficult times. Everybody does. There's been some really, you know, since childhood, you know, I've had some pretty difficult periods in my life, and everyone does. It's part of life. But from, again, drawing on those learning experiences from when I was growing up and from my childhood is that knowledge that everything comes to an end. The only thing you cannot change is that tomorrow will come. You can't change that. You know, was it King Canute tried to turn back the tide? You can't. That's the only fundamental in this universe we inhabit, is tomorrow will come. And by extension of that, this period that you're going through will be over. You know, and I like, you know, if you think of it, there's times in your life where you have to just batten down the hatches and ride out the storm and know that you're going through a tunnel. But like all tunnels, there is an end to it.